योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Namaste. Myself, Dr. Ritesh Gujarati, working as an associate professor at CVM University's G.J. Patel Institute of Ayurvedic Studies and Research, New Vallabh Vidyanagar. Today, I am here to talk about the topic Eating Right the Ayurvedic Way. So, in this presentation, we are going to talk about the details about eating, which are described in various ancient Ayurvedic texts. Before I proceed my presentation, let me acknowledge UGC Human Resource Development Center, Gujarat University, for providing me the opportunity to create this e-content for second online refresher course in social science. I also extend my sincere thanks to Professor Jagdish Joshi sir, Director UGC HRDC, Gujarat University. I also extend my sincere thanks to the coordinator and the organizing team of this refresher course in the Department of Social Science. Now, my entire presentation is going to talk about these 3 points. That is why there's a necessity to think about the ways of eating Ayurvedic way. What are the details that are provided in ancient Ayurvedic texts related to eating habits? It means what kind of food material should be consumed by a person to maintain his or her health. And also we are going to talk about the details about various eating behaviors that are necessary to maintain our health. So first, let us see why it is necessary that one should think about the ancient eating habits or eating ways which are described in ancient Ayurvedic texts. Before I proceed in my presentation, let me share some scientific data with you. Here you can see on your screen the Lancet article which talks about health effects of dietary risk in 195 countries. This article covers the details from 1990 to 2017. This is a systematic analysis for the global burden of disease study 2017. Let me share some of the findings from this article, which clearly mentions that in 2017, 11 million deaths were there, which are attributed to various dietary risk factors. So it means not only India, but the entire world is suffering about various dietary risks, which are associated with the various food materials that we are consuming and various dietary behaviors that are leading to such kind of deaths. This article further says that it's expensive to ignore prevention. Cause of diseases associated with diet and inactivity. Here we can see on our screen, this diet may lead to this kind of burden on the entire community. This article further says unhealthy eating and physical activity are leading causes of death in the US. So here we are talking about a developed countries where unhealthy diet contributes to approximately 6,78,000 deaths each year in US. So on the basis of this article, we can understand what kind of deaths might be there in the developing world. So here on a screen, we can see risk factors and the number of deaths in the US in 2016, which says that the dietary risks other than BMI, that is body mass index, number of deaths in 2006, the data says about there were 5,29,999 deaths, which is almost 20% of the total deaths. So it estimates of annual direct plus indirect costs for diseases overall, including portions caused by factors other than diet and physical activity. So here we can see if 1% reduction in dietary health risks such as weight, blood pressure, glucose, and cholesterol risk factors would save around 83 to 103 US dollars per person per year in medical costs. So which clearly says, according to the Trust for America's Health, if obesity trends were lowered by reducing the average adult body mass index by only 5%, millions of Americans could be spared serious health problems and our country could save $150 billion US dollars over the next 10 years. This is the scientific data from a developed country. Now, on our screen, you can see a photograph. Basically, there are two photographs, and these are the two extremes that we can find in the society. One photograph clearly talks about the food a person is consuming than what which is required. It means here the person is consuming more diet than what is required, whereas another photo is about a world where the persons are or the people are not getting sufficient food material. So these are the two extreme conditions, and both the conditions, taking more food or adverse dietary habits or taking less food than which is required, can lead to several disorders. So both the photographs are not justified here. Also, almost since 2020 March, we come across with such photographs or advertisements which talks about various food materials or advertisements which says that each and every food material or fast food is having some immunity booster effects. On our screen we can see this vegetable masala pav which clearly mentions that it is an immunity booster dish. So here we need to understand the reality about such food materials. Also, the second photograph is about a ice cream, advertisement of an ice cream, which says that immunity booster Ayurvedic ice cream. Now we need to understand that in Ayurveda, we do not have the concept of anything like ice creams. But now since last 1.5 months, as everybody knows that Ayurvedic medicines are immunity boosters, so everybody is advertising their food products or fast foods with the help of these Ayurvedic words, and they are selling these products like anything, and everything will be sold under the title of Ayurvedic or herbs, which improves the immunity of that person. Here also we can see now bread is very commonly used in our day-to-day lifestyle. Here it is, the advertise is like immunity wali bread. So even breads are sold with such advertisements. Just they'll add certain Indian spices, and now they will term that bread as an immunity booster bread. Even here we can see the advertisements, very creative advertisements. Ulti aadat chodo, seedhi apnao, sahi khao. So such kind of creative advertisements are there in the media, print media as well as electronic media. So such catchy advertisements generally confuses the people, and now everybody is aware about the health, and that's why when you tag a particular food material or say fast food with a tag like immunity booster, immediately it is sold very easily. So we need to have a thorough analysis about such advertisement, whether such products are to be used or not. Even yes, these are two creative advertisement. Here we can see the sandwiches or burgers are sold like immunity boosters or immunity sandwiches. So we need to stay away from such kind of advertisements. Here also we can see the advertisement like immunity booster smoothie. So all the fast foods as well as drinks are sold under the name of immunity booster. Even this is a creative advertisement, which the tagline has been taken from a famous Indian movie, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, which says, "Ja Simran Ja, बढ़ा ले अपनी immunity." And now this bread, here you can see, क्योंकि इसमें है. And if you see all these products, they are nothing but Indian spices. So what they are doing is just they'll add certain Indian spices to their product, and immediately they'll tag that product as a immunity boosters. So one needs to be very cautious before purchasing such kind of products. So if we are purchasing such kind of products, we are compromising our own health. Here, even not only vegetarian, but also non-vegetarian food materials are tagged like immunity boosters. So one needs to be very much aware about what kind of food materials which we are purchasing from outside. Even famous Indian fast food, what we can call it as Pani Puri. Here, the Pani Puri is also not left. Ayurvedic immunity booster Pani Puri. So just they'll add certain Indian spices, and now they'll sell these Pani Puris like immunity booster Pani Puris. Even here we are not criticizing the advertisement of Amul, but here we can see they introduced this ice cream which contains turmeric. Now we need to understand that turmeric is an Indian spice which is used in all of our cookings, day-to-day vegetables and everything. And the quantity that is added to our Indian dishes, that is quite sufficient. There is absolutely no need to consume a ice cream separately to improve our immunity. But then also, as there are a lot of studies were there which says that turmeric is a very good immunity booster. Even Ministry of Ayush is proposing golden milk, which is nothing but a milk which is added with turmeric. So Amul has come up with such ideas, and now they are selling such ice cream with a title that if haldi or turmeric is added to that ice cream, then it becomes immunity boosters. Here also you can see one more advertisement which says Ayurvedic ice creams. Now, if you see the photograph, you can see these are nothing but all Indian spices. So again, the same concept or funda has been utilized by various uh, companies to sell their products during lockdown as well as in post-pandemic era. Here also we can see live Ayurvedic ice cream, Ayurvedic waffles, Ayurvedic sorbet. So each and every product is now sold. Now the market has understood the concept. If they are selling their products or food materials under the title immunity booster or Ayurvedic, they are easily sold, and people are crazy like anything to purchase such products because everyone is now aware that that we need to consume immunity boosters so that we can stay away from various diseases. So the market has understood this phenomena and they are using this phenomena very wisely. Now, the most and important question comes, that is, do we believe in such kind of advertisements? Absolutely, the answer is we should stay away from such kind of advertisement. We shouldn't believe such kind of advertisement, and we shouldn't purchase such kind of food materials or various fast foods which are tagged as immunity boosters or Ayurvedic. Now, in Ayurveda, there's a very detailed discussion about how a person can maintain his or her immunity. And in that concept also, they have given the details about the various guidelines related to eating. So that is what we are going to see. So yes, certainly Ayurveda has got a very detailed discussion about what kind of food materials should be consumed. Even Ayurveda also talks about how these food materials are needed to be consumed. So all these details that we are going to see in these slides. So now, what is Ayurveda? So Ayurveda is nothing but a science of life. It not only takes care of the patients, but majorly it deals with healthy individuals. The most important concept or most important thing that needs to be taken care of is our own lifestyle. 20th century is considered to be a century of infectious diseases, that is communicable diseases. But now the entire world, along with World Health Organization, that is WHO, they understood that 21st century is not of communicable diseases, but it is of non-communicable diseases. And major chunk of this non-communicable diseases comes from lifestyle disorders. So if we can mend our lifestyle, then certainly we can stay away from various diseases. So lifestyle disorder, this is a list of lifestyle disorders like atherosclerosis, heart diseases, stroke, obesity, diabetes, even diseases which are associated with smoking and alcohol and drug abuse. So all these lifestyle disorders are related to faulty dietary habits as well as faulty regimens. So lifestyle disorders and food, there's a very close association between these lifestyle disorders and food. Worldwide medical fraternity is focusing on changes in the lifestyle to achieve the goal of disease-free society. Faulty dietary habits, this is one of the major reasons for various lifestyle disorders. Even many research papers have been published in international journals about the relation between food pattern and emerging of the diseases. It means the scientific community accepts that faulty dietary habits leads to many diseases, and non-communicable diseases cause a lot of burden on not only that family but the economy of each and every country. And most important thing is cure is more difficult. So prevention is the only way out in lifestyle disorders. Yes, this is what I have told. Prevention is the only way out. So what are the things that are needed to be changed? First is adopt lifestyle changes. We need to change our own lifestyle. We need to accept the concept of holistic food. Also, we need to revisit the ancient concepts of food. We need to majorly focus on our traditional food. Traditionally, the food is designed in such a way that suits the needs of the individuals residing in a particular habitat. So, when in Ayurveda, when we talk about the pillars of the body, that is Traya Upastambha, it is nothing but Ahara, Nidra, and Brahmacharya. Ahar, that is food, Nidra, that is sleep, and Brahmacharya is nothing but celibacy. So, the first and most important pillar for maintaining a healthy body is Ahar, and we need to understand and practice that wisely. So, now, what kind of food material should we consume? Food and weight has a very close association. In Ayurveda, the ancient texts of Ayurveda, Sushruta Samhita, clearly says that ahar and nidra are closely associated with two extreme clinical conditions. And these two extreme clinical conditions are staulya and karsha. Staulya is nothing but overweight or obesity like clinical conditions, whereas karsha is nothing but malnourished clinical conditions. So, improper food or improper food habits and improper sleeping habits can lead a particular person either in a condition of staulya, that is obesity, or it may lead to a condition that is malnutrition. So a person needs to be very cautious about his food pattern as well as sleeping pattern because it has a very close association in the maintenance of health. Now, regarding Ahar, as modern science says, there are standard guidelines for all because modern science believes in the concept of standardization where a phenomena is applied to a very mass population. Even WHO says that there are certain guidelines related to food which are common to all. But unlike modern science, Ayurveda has a very own individualistic approach. Ayurveda provides personalized dietetic guidelines and it strongly relies on the concept of psychosomatic body constitution, that is Prakruti. Because in Ayurveda, the diet is prescribed as per the Prakruti. So, what are the guidelines that are provided in Ayurvedic texts related to food or eating habits? The first is what kind of food material should be consumed by a person. Then, how that food material should be cooked, how it should be served, in how much quantity that food material should be served, with whom. It means whenever a person is taking that food, who should accompany him or her. Ayurveda also talks about in detail food incompatibilities. That is, what kind of food material should not be consumed with what kind of food material or drinks. Also, it has a very thorough discussion about do's and don'ts while taking the food material. We are going to see the details about all of these in coming slides. Now, we need to understand the concept of Prakruti. Prakruti is nothing but a psychosomatic body constitution of a person. Entire body is governed by three entities. They are termed as doshas, and these three entities are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And this Prakriti is decided at the time of conception. Your Prakriti never changes throughout our lifestyle. At the time of conception, predominance of a particular dosh decides the prakriti of the newborn, and this prakriti never changes throughout our life. There are 7 types of prakriti. The details are Ekadosha Prakriti, that is Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, and Kapha Prakriti. There are Dvidosha Prakritis, Vata Kapha Prakriti, Vata Pitta Prakriti, Pitta Kapha Prakriti. There's one more Prakriti, that is Vata Pitta and Kapha Prakriti, where all the doshas are balanced. So a particular dosh which is predominant at the time of conception decides the Prakriti of that individual. Prakriti is nothing but a psychosomatic body constitution of that individual, which talks about the overall personality of that individual. Now, there is very close association between Prakriti and food. So, before we decide what kind of food material should be consumed, we need to understand the concept of Prakriti, because food has to be chosen as per the Prakriti of that individual. So food should always be opposite to your Prakriti. If one person is having a Pitta Prakriti, then the food material should be exactly opposite to the Pitta Prakriti. Food is responsible for the balance and imbalance of the doshas. One needs to be very cautious while taking the food. So we need to consume a food material in such a way so that the balance of the doshas is always maintained. If a person is a Pitta Prakriti person and he is consuming very spicy food on a daily basis, then certainly in future he might suffer from various pythic disorders like burning sensation in the chest, burning sensation in the abdomen, or the conditions like hyperacidity. So our food has a very close association with our Prakriti. And I again repeat that we need to consume a food material which is opposite to our Prakriti. So what kind of diet is recommended in Ayurveda? So this is a diet which is recommended in Ayurveda. So if a person is a Vata Prakriti person, then when we talk about proteins, then small amount of poultry, seafood or tofu can be consumed. In dairy, milk, butter, yogurt, cheese, ghee are considered as very good for Vata Prakriti person. Fruits which are sweet and comparatively heavy, like bananas, grapefruit, mangoes, peaches, plums are considered as good for Vata Prakriti person. Vegetables which are properly cooked, including beets, sweet potatoes, radishes, carrots, green beans, are good for Vata Prakriti persons. Legumes like lentils and moong dal, that is green gram, are considered as better for Vata Prakriti person. Grains like cooked rice, nuts and seeds are also good for Vata Prakriti persons like almonds, pistachios, sunflower seeds. In herbs and spices like cardamom, ginger, cumin, basil, cloves, thyme, black pepper are considered as good for Vata Prakriti persons. So all these dairy products, fruit, vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, seeds, etc. are considered as good for Vata Prakriti person. For Pitta Prakriti person, poultry again in small amounts, egg, particularly whites, dairy, milk, ghee, butter is considered as good. Preferably, ghee is considered as good for Pitta Prakriti person. For Vata Prakriti person, tail is considered as better. For fruits which are sweet, which are properly ripe, like oranges, pears, pineapples, bananas, melons, mangoes, are considered as good for Pitta Prakriti persons. Vegetables which are sweet and bitter. For Pitta Prakriti person, the diet which is recommended in Ayurveda, in the category of proteins, the person can go for small amounts of poultry. In eggs, preferably egg whites. In dairy, milk, ghee, butter is considered as good for Pitta Prakriti person. Ghrita or ghee is considered as best for Pitta Prakriti person to keep the Pitta under control. In the same way, oil is considered as best for Vata Prakriti persons. Fruits like which are sweet, which are fully ripe, like oranges, pears, pineapples, bananas, mangoes, are considered as good for Pitta Prakriti person. In the vegetable category, the vegetables which are sweet and bitter are considered as better for Pitta Prakriti persons. In legumes, lentils, moong, that is green gram, black beans, kidney beans are better for Pitta Prakriti person. In grains, barley, oat, basmati rice, wheat is better for Pitta Prakriti person. In nuts and seed category, small amounts of pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, coconut is better for Pitta Prakriti persons. In herbs and spices, small amounts of spices are better for Pitta Prakriti person. As Pitta Prakriti persons, they have hot potency inside their body. So it is always better to consume the spices in a very smaller amounts. Otherwise, excessive consumption of spices may lead to aggravation of pitta, and the person may suffer from various pythic disorders. For Kapha Prakriti persons, dairy food materials like skim milk, goat milk, or soya milk is better. In fruits, apples, blueberries, pears, pomegranates, dried fruits like raisins, figs, prunes are better for Kapha Prakriti persons. In vegetable, asparagus, potatoes, mushroom, radishes are better for Kapha Prakriti persons. In grains, oats, barley, corn, millet are better for Kapha Prakriti persons. In nuts and seeds, small amounts of pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, etc. are better for Kapha Prakriti person. In herbs and spices, anything including cumin, black pepper, turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, basil, oregano are better for Kapha Prakriti persons. Now, diets which has to be avoided by these Prakriti persons is fruits which are dried, unripe, or light fruits are not good for Vata Prakriti persons. Vegetables which are raw vegetables or broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, potatoes, and tomatoes are not considered as better for Vata Prakriti persons. Legumes like beans, black beans, kidney beans are not good for Vata Prakriti persons. In herbs and spices, which are bitter or astringent herbs, are not considered as better for Vata Prakriti persons. So, on the basis of this description, you can understand that any food material which aggravates that dosh shouldn't be consumed by the person, whereas any food material which will keep that dosh under control shall always be preferred by that person. In Pitta Prakriti persons, in diet, dairy products which are sour, like curd, buttermilk, are not good for Pitta Prakriti persons. Fruits which are sour and which are not properly ripe are considered as bad for Pitta Prakriti persons. Vegetables, chili, peppers are not good for Pitta Prakriti persons. In nuts and seeds, peanuts, pine nuts, pistachios are not good for Pitta Prakriti persons. Most of the spices are having hot potency, that's why their excessive consumption may lead to aggravation of Pitta dosha. In Kapha Prakriti persons, fruits like bananas, coconut, mangoes increases kapha, that's why it needs to be avoided or should be consumed in a very lesser quantities. Vegetables, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers are not good for Kapha Prakriti persons. Kidney beans is not good for Kapha Prakriti persons. Grains like rice, wheat, cooked cereal is not good for Kapha Prakriti persons, because all these food materials are going to increase cough in excessive quantities in our body, and that's why these are to be avoided by Kapha Prakriti persons. Nuts and seeds like cashews, pine nuts, sesame seeds, walnuts are not good for Kapha Prakriti persons. So this is the diet which has to be avoided by Kapha Prakriti person. Now, what are the food materials which are recommended for daily consumption irrespective of any Prakriti? So Ayurveda gives a list of food materials which can be consumed on daily basis, as well as it provides a list of food materials which shouldn't be consumed on daily basis. So here we are talking about the food material which should be consumed on daily basis, like rice, wheat, barley, green gram, milk, ghee, pomegranate, rock salt. So this description is based on a very generalized guidelines. Then also a person needs to understand his or her own Prakriti, and then he should decide that whether this material should be consumed on daily basis or not. So these are the generalized guidelines. In the same way, food material which is not recommended for daily consumption is curd, alkaline foods, sprouts, dry vegetables, fish, meat of aquatic animals, stale food, or the food which is cooked on previous night shouldn't be consumed by a person. A food material which is not freshly prepared, which is too hot, or which contains excessive amount of salt should be avoided by a person for daily consumption. Now, Ayurveda also talk about certain dietary materials which shouldn't be consumed in excessive quantities. Ayurveda says Nati Upayunjit, Pippalihi, Ksharaha, and Lavanani. So, lavan means salts shouldn't be consumed in excessive quantities, as well as pepper or pippali shouldn't be consumed in excessive quantities. And kshar or alkaline food material shouldn't be consumed on daily basis or in excessive quantities. Otherwise, the person may face the complications which are enlisted in Ayurvedic texts due to the excessive consumption of this pippali, kshar, and lavan. We need to keep a very holistic approach while selecting the food, because food is having its role on our body as well as our mind. In Ayurveda, there's one text which says Ahara Sambhavo Deho hi Ahara Sambhava. It means our body originates from food. So food has a very strong impact in the maintenance of our health. Also, there's one more quotation in one of the Ayurvedic texts which says Ahara Shuddha Sattva Shuddhi. It means the food material that we are consuming has a very big impact in the psyche of that individual. So food is having its impact on the psyche as well as the physique of that individual, and that's why proper guidelines needed to be followed before selecting any kind of food material for consumption. Now, Ayurveda also gives a thorough guideline related to how this food material should be consumed. Whenever we select a food material, all these points are needed to be taken into consideration. That's the quality of the food, quantity of the food, preparation of the food, serving of the food, where this food needs to be consumed, and restrictions are there while taking the food material. So now what Ayurveda says is always we need to prefer home cooked food. Always a traditional food is considered as best for maintaining our health. Food should always be freshly prepared. It should always be hot when we are consuming. Ayurveda has a very thorough discussion related to food material, and it says that whatever food which we are consuming on our daily basis should have the inclusion of all of these six tastes. It means Ayurveda says we need to consume Shad Rasatmak Ahar on daily basis. That is sweet, sour, salty, spicy, bitter, and astringent. So there should be a proper balance of all these tastes in our diet. Even we need to consume a food material as per our own prakruti, or as well as we need to give a we need to have a thorough understanding of what kind of food material should be consumed in a particular season. It means Ayurveda says that we need to do some minor changes in our food material according to the season, and always food should be nutritious and it should be helpful in the growth and development of that individual. As I have mentioned previously, that there's a very close association between food and seasons. So one cannot have the same food throughout the year. It means we need to change our food materials or food habit as per the season. Ayurveda has a very thorough discussion about the concept of Rutucharya. Rutucharya, it means what kind of food material should be consumed in a particular Rutucharya. So there are 6 seasons, and Ayurveda uh, talks about what kind of food material should be consumed in all those seasons. Also, there's a very detailed discussion about food and drinks, particularly water. There are many misconceptions are prevailing in the society, but Ayurveda has a very clear-cut guideline regarding consumption of water while taking the food. If a person consumes water before taking the food, then it is said that it gradually reduces the weight of that person. If a person is consuming excessive quantities of water after taking food, then it is mentioned that it increases the weight of that person. And if one wants to maintain the weight, then he or she has to drink water while taking the food. So these are the guidelines related to drinking of water. Even related to how much quantity of food should be consumed by a person. So Ayurveda says that we need to divide our stomach in 4 parts, and out of 4 parts, 2 parts are needed to be filled by food, that is solid food material. One part is to be filled by liquid material, and one part, that is the fourth part, should always be kept empty. It means whenever we are taking food, 50% of our food should be a solid food, 25% should be liquid food, and 25% of the space should always be kept empty for the movement of doshas. It means whenever we are taking food, 75% of the space from the stomach can be occupied with solid food as well as liquid material, and 25% of stomach should always be empty at the end of our food, that is either lunch or dinner. Even there are general guidelines related to food. In Ayurveda, there are certain important shlokas which says Kale. It means food should be consumed at appropriate time. So whenever we are taking food, it should be at very fixed timing. It means whenever we are taking our breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it should always be a fixed time. We should not regularly change our food habits, because our biological clock is set as per that time, and if we are continuously or regularly changing our timings for taking food, then certainly it can lead to certain GI tract disturbances. Even we should always consume the food which is satmya. Satmya means which is suitable to that individual. And here, once again, comes the concept of prakruti. So, food material which is suitable to that prakruti or that individual should only be consumed by that person. Shuchi, proper cleanliness or hygienic practices should be followed while cooking as well as serving the food as well as while consuming the food. Hitam, the food material which is good for that person, should only be consumed. Snigdha, Ushnam, it means there should be proper quantities of oil and ghee in our food. Food should always be consumed when it is warm. Food should always be Laghu. It means it can be easily digested by our Agni, the entity which is responsible for digestion. And most important is Tanmana. Whenever we are taking food, our full concentration should be in taking that food. Also, the second shlok says Shad Rasam. It means there should be proper balance of all the 6 tests in our diet. Madhur Praya. Generally, it is said that whenever we are consuming food, the major percentage of our diet should be of Madhur Ras, because Madhur Ras or sweeter taste is considered as best for increasing the strength of that individual. Further, Acharya Vagbhat in Ashtanga says Nati Druta Vilambitam. It means whenever we are taking food, the speed of taking the food plays a very important role. We shouldn't consume our food in a very short span or in a hurry, or we shouldn't take excessive timing while taking our food. Snataha, proper cleanliness after either after taking bath or after cleaning hand and feet, then only we should consume our food. Most important is kshudvan. When the person is hungry, then and then only he or she should take the food. Vivik tasto, it means we need to take food in a isolated place. Dautapada karanana, proper cleaning of face, hand and feet, then only we should consume the food. Before consuming food, as Ayurveda is a Astik Darshan, it says that we need to offer our food to Dev, Atithi, Balak, Guru, then only at last we should only consume the food. Samiksha Samyak Atmanam, before consumption of the food, a proper thorough analysis of the food, at whether this food is good for me, and if the answer is this food is good for me, then only I should consume the food. Then anindan, it means while taking the food, we should never criticize the food. Abruvan, we should keep mum, or there shouldn't be excessive talking while taking the food. Dravam, it means the food should never be very dry. Proper percentage of liquid material should be there while taking the food. Ishtam, it should be suitable to that person. Ishtaihi sa ashniya, it means food should always be consumed in a company of friends or relatives or family members which are good to us. Also, there's a very detailed discussion about food and Agni. Agni is an entity which is responsible for digestion of food material. So all diseases are originated from Mandagni. In Ayurveda, there's one shlok, Ayurvedic text, there's one shlok, Rogaha Sarve Api Mande. It means all the diseases originate from weak status of Agni. And if, while talking about the definition of a healthy person, it says Samadosha, Samagnisha, Samadhatu, Malakriya, Prasanna Atmendriya Manha, Swastha iti abhidiyate. It means if the status of Agni is balanced, then the person is healthy. So for maintaining our health, it is very much important that we should be very cautious about the maintenance of our Agni. So all measures needs to be taken care of or to be done to maintain our Agni. A sound Agni is a sign of sound health. So food material in excessive quantities or less quantity can damage the status of our Agni, and any damage or weak status of Agni can lead to various diseased conditions. So Agni is the entity which is responsible for digestion. In Ayurveda, Agni is considered as a very sacred entity. Like in Yajna, whenever we are performing any auspicious or traditional Yajnas, fire has got a very important status, and we always take a very special care of that fire. And for that sacred fire, we also select a fuel very wisely. In the same way, when we are talking about the fire or Agni, which is responsible for the maintenance of our health, so to maintain that fire or Agni, we need to select our food very wisely. While talking about this Agni, there's one important shlok in Ayurvedic text which says, Hitashi Syat. It means whenever we are taking food, it should be that food should always help us to maintain our health. Mitashisya, which means we should always take the food in minimal quantities. Kala bhoji, food should always be consumed at appropriate time. Jitendriya, a person has full control over his or her senses. Then and then only the person can remain healthy. One more slok related to fire, which says, Na bhojanena kayaga nirdipyate na ati bhojana. It means if the person is taking food material in either lesser quantities or in excessive quantities, then the Agni of that person will not be maintained and that can invite many diseases. Even they have given the example like a bonfire, yatha nirindhano vanhi alpova ati indhanavrata. It means whenever we are lighting this bonfire, we always take care that proper fuel should be added in that bonfire so that the fire will continue for a very long duration. Adding of excessive fuel or less fuel can damage that bonfire. In Ayurveda, there's one more concept, that is Ahar Vidhi Visheshayatan, which says that whenever we consume our food material, we need to think about all these entities, and these 8 entities are Prakriti, Karana, Sanyoga, Rashi, Desha, Kala, Upayoga Sanstha, and Upayukta. Now, one by one, we can see what is Prakriti. Prakriti is nothing but Prakriti Uchate Swabhavo. It means the natural properties of a food material, like black gram or green gram. Black gram is considered as comparatively heavy to digest, whereas green gram is considered as very light to digest. So, whenever we are selecting a food material, we need to think about the natural properties of that food material. Then Karan is nothing but the processing which is done while preparing that food. And that's why the shlok says sanskaro hi gunantara dharana uchyate. It means all these processes which are performed while preparing the food changes the properties of that food material. And these changes are attributed to various procedures like cleaning or the fire or desha, kala, even the vessels. So all these processes will have its impact on the properties of the food material. So whenever we are consuming a food material, we need to have a thorough understanding of all these processes which changes the properties of the food material. Sanyog is nothing but the combination of various uh, food materials while preparing the food. Ayurveda has a detailed discussion about the concept of Viruddhahar, which says certain food materials should be never consumed with typical, say in this example, they have mentioned Madhu Sarpesho. It means Madhu and Sarpi, that is honey and ghee, shouldn't be consumed in equal quantities. Even it says Matsya Payasamcha. It means fish should never be consumed along with milk. So such kind of combinations we should always be aware that if you want to maintain our health, we should have a proper understanding of that what kind of food material should be consumed with what kind of another food. Then Rashi is nothing but the quantity of the food material. Now the quantity can be measured in a total way or partly. So in even modern dietetics, there is a thorough discussion or understanding about the concept of quantity of the food material. So whenever we are taking food, we should be cautious about quantity of the food material. As it is mentioned in previous shlokas, mitashesya, we should always take the food material less than what is required. Desh plays a very important role. Desh is nothing but a place where that uh, raw food material is grown or where it is going to be utilized. So we need to understand the properties of the food material as per the location or habitat of that food material. Kal is divided into 2 categories, that is Nityagascha, Avastikascha, Nitya. It is nothing but on day-to-day basis, whereas Avastik as per the disease stage. So after detailed analysis of various disease conditions or various seasons or daytime like lunch as well as dinner, we need to select our food materials wisely. Upayog Sanstha is nothing but various guidelines which are related to the consumption of the food that we are going to see in a later stage. Upayukta is nothing but a person who consumes the food material. So A person who is consuming the food material should understand that whether this food material is good for me or not, then only he should start consuming that food material. Now, Ahar Vidhi Vidhan is nothing but various rules and regulations related to the consumption of the food. In this shlok, it says that food should always be ushnam. It means whenever we are consuming the food, it should always be hot. Snigdham, proper quantities of oil or ghee, that is snigdhata, or oiliness should be there in the food. Matravat, food should always be consumed in proper quantities that are required for our maintenance of health. Jirne, we should only consume the food when the food which was taken at previous night is properly digested. Then virya aviruddham, we should always keep in mind the concept of viruddhahar while taking the food material. Ishte deshe, we need to consume the food material at proper place. Ishta saropakaranam, food should be consumed in proper or neat or clean vessels. It means proper hygienic practices should be followed while consuming the food. Nati dhrutam, nati vilambitam, proper speed is required while taking the food. If a particular person is consuming the food at a very higher speed or a very low speed, then that is not good. Ajalpan, as far as possible, we should speak less while consumption of the food. Ahasan, a person should avoid excessive laughing while consuming the food. Tanmana bhunjit, as it was told in previous shlokas, that the full concentration of that person should be in that food while taking the food material. And last and most important guideline related to Ahar Vidhi Vidhan is Atmanam Abhisamiksha. It means before selection of the food, we need to think about our own prakriti, and if that food suits to my prakriti, then only I should start consuming the food material. Now, yes, I would like to share this beautiful sentence which says, people are fed by the food industry which pays no attention to health. It means the entire food industry, which is going very fast, pays no attention to health because their major focus is on the taste of the food. And while focusing on the taste of the food, they compromise the quantity or quality of the food and are treated by health industry which pays no attention to the food. So these are two extremes. Food industry pays no attention to health, whereas health industry pays no attention to food. So both these industries needs to pay proper attention on health as well as food. Then only we can have a healthy society. Now, what is the take-home message for this presentation? That is, food is an important pillar in our life. Food needs to be selected as per our prakriti. One has to understand the concept of prakriti, and then he or she has to select the food as per the prakriti. Some changes in the food are necessary as per the seasonal variation. It means we cannot have the same food throughout the year. We need to change the food material as per the season. A concept of Rutucharya has been thoroughly discussed in Ayurveda. Traditional food, we need to focus on traditional food wherever we are living. Whatever the traditional practices are there, all those traditional practices or traditional food are considered as good for our maintenance of health. So we shouldn't mix and match while preparing the food material. As far as possible, processed food needs to be avoided because it contains a lot of preservatives and which are not good in long run for our health. Food served in the restaurants is made tasty at the cost of health. So as far as possible, we need to stay away from taking the food at restaurants. Food certainly has got its impact on our mental health, as I mentioned previously. Ahar shuddha sattva shuddhi. So whatever food material we are consuming, it is having its direct impact on the psyche of the individual. So we need to be extra cautious while preparing the food as well as while selection of the food. So guidelines related to consumption of food makes it sure that consumed food will be digested properly and will reach to its final destination, that is formation of our body tissues. So this is all about related to the guidelines which are provided in Ayurvedic texts related to eating. At last, I would like to leave you with this beautiful quotation from one of the ancient Ayurvedic texts, which says, Pathe sati gadarthasya kim aushadhi nishevanaha पथ्ये असदीगदार्थस्य किम औषधि निषेवनः. You can see there is only one difference in this shlok. The first line says if the person is consuming suitable diet, then absolutely there is no need of any kind of medicine. And the second line is exactly opposite. If the person is not consuming suitable food, then also there's no need of medicine. It means suitable food is the only medicine. If a person is cautious about the quality of the food, quantity of the food, and the ways of eating the food, then he or she can stay away from the diseases, and absolutely there will be no need of any kind of medicine. Once again, I extend my sincere thanks to UGC HRDC, Gujarat University for providing me the opportunity to interact with all of you. Thank you.